All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So today we are going to look at the major markets. Again, mainly the US ones, but I did expand to include some of the Chinese ETFs. I never used to do that before. It's, again, like I said, a theory that someone had that I kind of liked. So as the US might go down a little bit, it's obviously been really good, right? The Chinese strength of their indices might bring us up. So that's why we've added those. Before I get into the technicals, I'm just going to kind of throw out a couple thoughts and ideas, a little more on the fundamental side. Obviously, I do not pretend to know all the news and stay up with the fundamental. That's not what you're watching my videos for. You're watching me talk about the lines here, right? Nonetheless, I'll make a couple just general comments before doing what we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly across all the indices, just like we do individual stocks. We have the same 5 moving averages. There's only one right now, but this is a horizontal support and resistance line that I do manually draw. And then when we're done up here, we use the MACD, RSI, and volume. Okay, so a few things real quick, okay? Obviously, there was a lot of noise about meme stocks going crazy, right? And I mean, I made a video about it this week, right? I haven't done one of those, I think, since July. So by no means am I trying to pretend that's not real or, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not above trading anything, you know what I mean? That said, I do want to stress what I talked about in my golden rule of trading, right? When the market does well, and I mean this is well, right? And I imagine we're going to see this same cross across all of them, right? Just a bunch of green ups in a row, right? When the market does well, it's our job to do significantly better. It's our job to crush it, right? And roughly speaking, this thing gained about even less than 10% actually, because from, let's call this 10,000 to 11,000, yeah, 10% gained. I sincerely hope you did a lot better than 10% in the first couple weeks of trading. And I mean, even if you just made 10%, hey, beautiful, right? We're going to put that in the pocket and it's good. But like I said, it's our job to crush the market when it's good. So yeah, meme stocks did well and stuff, but I mean, this right here is where we have to attack, okay? First and foremost. Second thing, and again, this is a little more fundamental in news. I haven't heard a lot of good or bad earnings. And in a lot of ways, I think no news is good news. And if nothing's rocked the boat yet, I think that's why we've maintained a good upward motion, right? And look, when I'm talking about earnings, I'm not talking about little stocks that we track here, right? No offense to anyone with any money in those little ones, right? But when I'm talking about earnings, I'm talking about the big boy. I'm talking about Google. I'm talking about Microsoft. I'm talking about Fate, right? If the FANGs, the blue chips, right? I mean, those are what I care about. And so far, I really haven't heard anything good or bad. And I think overall, that's okay. Again, next week, we're probably going to get more. I don't really follow like the earnings calendars, right? But so far, so good in terms of no news, I think. Okay. And then just in general with that, always remember this. This is just a little comment I have, right? When you go into a 3-day weekend, be afraid of that Friday, okay? Because I know we did really well. And then on Friday, a lot went red. And actually, you can even see it, right? The day still ended really well. It was a nice full candle, even though it was a minimal percent, right? Friday before a long weekend, you're going to see a lot of people sell. Because my joke is this, and I know it's a joke and it's a very big extreme, but like, imagine if it happens, right? What if the CEO of the company that you have the most money in gets arrested for something bad, right? Something with a minor, just this or that, embezzlement, right? And you cannot sell until market open Tuesday, right? Ideally, that happens during hours where you can sell before others versus having to wait a couple days, letting a bunch of people also find out, and then everyone trying to sell the same moment, right? So just keep that in mind, all right? My cat's at the door. Let me let her in real quick, and then we'll get to the technicals, okay? Don't be a bad kitty. No. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so that really is all the noise I had, non-technicals. So now let's get into the NASDAQ. Okay, again, we're going to start on the daily and then we'll look at the weekly. So look, beautiful, beautiful break up. And I'll be honest, if you were a part of the chart reader newsletter, we were ready for this. I'll be honest, right? This was ready to happen and it happened, right? How do you join? It's completely free. You go to chartreaders.com, scroll to the bottom, put your email and say you're not a robot. That's all you got to do, okay? But we were ready for this. And I'm real surprised that the RSI isn't higher than it is right now. I'm also surprised that this actually broke the 100. Okay, it wasn't a monster break, but I love the fact that we're not only over it, it's a good full candle. And I often say the NASDAQ should really only be around 0.5%. So I know this looks relatively small, but that's the perfect number for an index, okay? And all that is really good. And look, as I zoom out, it's been a good while, all right? And when we broke the 100 here, we actually had a nice ride up, right? So I'm loving the fact that we're actually over the 100, that the MACD is almost at the 0, that the MACD has such a good gap between the red and the green, right? The red is just kind of staying down, green continues to grow and go up. And look, RSI has been relatively flat. It's starting to uptrend, and it's, I'm hoping, starting to actually take off a little bit while red stays down, kind of starts doing this, right? So, and then last but not least, you know I say it often, it doesn't have to be by a lot, but if the volume can consistently be at or over the 50 moving average, and I mean, green is obviously good, right? So if you can get there with the volume, things are gonna just do it. And one more time, if you can get a string of greens on an index, it's our job to crush it with our individual stocks, okay? And I can't stress why that was golden rule number 1 if you watch that video, and I sincerely hope it's been a great 2 weeks for you as well. So look, right now, where are we at? I want confirmation of the break of the 100, right? Again, I actually thought we were gonna stop around 11. I thought we would hit this and kind of make our way down, test one of these lines again, right? I love that the green is starting to go up, okay? I really want this orange 20, the next one up, I want this to also go up because, just zooming out real quick, let me just do this. It sucks when we're under it, right? You know I talk about that all the time. And then there's moments when we break, and then when they both go up together, that's how you can get a good ride, all right? And if we're going to try to make a crack at that 200, we do want both to go up. Because look, RSI is going to need to cool. I've seen this thing hit the 90s. Don't get me wrong. We still might have a little juice left in this to maybe even hit 11.5, right? That said, we're going to need to cool. And when we cool, we're going to want to bounce off a moving average, right? That's why we use these moving averages. So break of the 100, right? We're either gonna actually break it and continue and probably come to this, really. I'll make some more, I don't like making too many horizontals on this, right? When I go to the weekly, I mean, this channel, I mean, I've been making these videos since June, July, roughly, right? This channel is pretty much what we've been watching, right? There's been break up of it. There's been what look like just almost fails down of it, but yeah, this 1225 to 10.8, I mean, this is the money channel right now, right? So I don't want to draw too many lines, but again, if you're in the newsletter, I'll get a little bit more detailed. Obviously, nothing's financial advice, you know that, right? But again, I'm loving this daily. I'm loving all these. That's good. Let me talk about the weekly because I really wasn't talking about the weekly too much. So we're at a place where we've actually broken both the 8 and the 20. Again, this is red because it's my death line. Most of my lines are white, right? I've called this the death line, and I have that across the SP-500 and Dow Jones as well. But we've broken 2 moving averages in a single candle. I expect really good confirmation. And for me, again, I talked about 11.5 on the daily. What number is this actually? 11.34. So basically 11.4. I want this candle to get to 11.2. All right, at least close around 11.2 or yeah, 11.25. I love that, right? Because again, I don't, hey, if you get up here, obviously that's great too, right? But I want a good, nice candle up here. That'll make me believe we've taken both. Don't end here on Friday. Obviously, don't end here on Friday, right? Let's continue up. That'll obviously be real nice on the daily, right? That'll mean we broke this and we're working our way up to the 200, right? Sorry, I got to keep zooming, but that'll mean that here. But the weekly, again, the weekly's been nothing but bad. We've started moving horizontal. Let's see if we can go up. And look, this 200 is no joke. Okay, we almost lost it. We've tested it once. We broke it once, but clearly failed. You know, are we going to do it again? Like, this 200 is no joke. The one good thing is we've at least tested it enough to hopefully it maybe will break, right? And then look, it's been a very long time since the 50s come into play, right? So, but we'll get there when we get there. For now, let's get good confirmation on the weekly, somewhere around there. And then that'll make me feel good about the daily. But overall, NASDAQ's crushing it. NASDAQ, ooh, there's a little lag there. Let's come to QQQ. I'm hoping that this is the exact same overall. And that pretty much is, oh, I think we're looking at after, let me get rid of that. Let's go regular hours. Boom. Why is this lagging on me? Come on. Oh, come on. I've always said there's some definite limit. Oh, come on. Why are you not letting me click that? Oh, my God. All right. We're going to look at post. This is something silly that happened after hours. Okay. Nonetheless, I'm seeing the same thing. The nice run up, this actually does not cross it. Again, maybe it did if we look at click. It's not letting me. All right, it's fine. It's fine. You can tell I'm getting angry. Whatever. So maybe this actually did get over if I hit actuals. Nonetheless, I'll take the NASDAQ's answer. I'm still really happy with the MACD. A lot closer to zero, actually. This is doing that same was tight, starting to uptrend, and hopefully taking off a little more. And not quite the same hitting the 50 moving average volume levels, but the same number of greens, in my opinion. I don't know if it's exact, right? But the string of greens here reminds me of the string of greens there. So I'll overall take that there. Nice. Again, this is a little closer to the 200. And we did the same thing, right? We lost it. We had moments where it looked good and then came down. Obviously, this 20 sucked. Here, we've actually taken a couple moving averages on a single candle. And again, I care about that week after, right? Bring us to roughly, what's this number? Is this a better whole? Yeah, let's just call it 285. Take me to 285. I'll be happy with that. I will. Obviously, take me to the 50 moving average up here, or take me to the top of this peak right here, right at 290, 292, right? But yeah, I'm okay with slow and steady. I really am, because still a slow RSI, and let's slow and steady to hopefully break the 50 and maybe make our way up there, right? But yeah, I like the fact that overall this does look like the NASDAQ, and that's good for me. So this is where I'm bringing in the first China index ETF, okay? So I did put a support question to the system that we're looking at here, and they will not actually let me look at any Chinese mainland or Hong Kong indices. So because of that, I'm kind of figuring out what the best ETFs are. FXI was here last week. I'm going to keep this one here, and the next one will be the second new one, right? But look, again, what's happened here, this thing keeps going, right? And look, in this thing, RSI right here on the daily is 74. I kind of said that on the two NASDAQ ones, right? I know they look a little high, but I'm telling you, I've seen these in the 90s, especially for these indices and ETFs, right? So you see what happens when a break of the 200 is real, right? You get a beautiful gap up, a nice just go on the 8, and I'm telling you, this is what we want to see, right? We have the 8 going early, then hopefully we'll see the 20 start going up together, right? And as we break them, as we start getting real high RSIs, we'll come back down, but we'll bounce on them and go up. This is hopefully what the NASDAQ will look like shortly. Okay, that would be a beautiful thing, both on the daily, and I imagine when we go to the weekly, it's going to look like the same thing, right? But yeah, where are we now? I mean, look, we've broken the 20 very nicely. We actually are starting to maybe slow down a little bit. But again, this is a relatively, I start saying, hey, be careful around that 75 number, right? 80 is what we consider a little high. So, should make sense. I think maybe we'll bounce here. Hopefully this comes up a little bit more, or even this line, you can see it. This actually looks like it was a good support line that I drew, right? This 30 right here, because it's gone a little horizontal here. Maybe if we lose this 30 line would catch it, right? So overall, still a beautiful thing. And look, MACD is not super positive, but it's at least positive, right? I don't talk about the MACD number too often, but yeah, 0 is definitely, better than negative whatever, let alone a 1, right? So yeah, can't be too mad at that. What else? My thing went down here. Sorry about that. Let's come to the weekly. Okay, what are we looking at the weekly? Again, this is starting to move. Hopefully the 20 starts to move, right? So it's not as dramatic, right? This has not quite happened yet on the weekly. I kind of thought it would, but that just goes to show how much slower the weekly is, right? But that also, like, if the weekly is bad, that's how bad the daily will be. If the daily's this good, it still takes a good while for the weekly to catch. But again, if this weekly starts to go up, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing for the dailies, right? So I'm loving this, right? This is great. Actually, still not 0, but that's a nice just separation, and it looks like it's even trying to go a little higher, right? RSI is not going crazy. I wish it would kind of uptrend a little more, but yeah, that's a healthy number, and volume looks good there, right? So this Chinese thing looks good. This Chinese ETF, I'll be honest, I don't know it too well. I should go a little deeper into it, but again, the reason we're watching is there's a theory that if the U.S. lags a little bit, the strength of China can carry our market a little bit, right? And again, I am not here to talk politics, but I'm here to talk lines, right? Pretty much the exact same chart from that last ETF is on this one. Okay, this one looks like it's a really big one. I'll be honest, I just did a quick Google search, okay? But most of them have this one as the highest Chinese ETF. I'm going to go a little deeper and see what it actually is, but hey, I love the fact that it pretty much looks exactly the same as the last one we saw. This one didn't quite gap up as hard on the 200 break, but again, it still did that beautiful separation, right? And look, here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You come down a little bit and you bounce up, right? So that last one hasn't done it yet. This one actually didn't even touch test it, but enough to where we can make the call, right? Let's see if it'll work this time. It's still bugging me, I'll be honest. No, it's not letting me click that. That's okay. That's okay. Let's come to the weekly here. Again, I'm liking this, right? Obviously, we've broken the 20. We've obviously broken the 50. This 8 is starting to move up very nicely. This is still in the high 60s, so we can still go to the high 70s before we start worrying, right? And again, what looked like a bad down on the weekly is kind of starting a horizontal and hopefully starts to go up as well and gives us belief to hit this. Look, again, if both the US and the Chinese markets are good, that has to be an even better thing, right? Again, do I honestly know? No, I don't. I got to do a little bit more research on these things. If you know, throw them in the comments, obviously, please, right? But yeah, I think it's well worth looking at. I probably actually should draw some lines. I don't even think I drew lines on that other one. Let me go back and make sure I do that. Oh, I did, because I know we talked about that one support that we hit. So we will put that right there. We'll put that right there. And I think that's at least enough on the weekly, because it's basically that, these, and that. And then what does it look like on the daily? Okay, let's draw some down here just to have them. Oh, perfect. That actually hits that, so that is a good line. We obviously have a bunch of those there. I'll take that. I think that's worth knowing. That's pretty much on the 100. Okay, cool. I think that's enough for here. So at least we do have some lines on the weekly. But again, both looked good. So coming back to the US markets, SPX is the SP 500. I used to write SP5, and you see it comes here, right? So this is actually the indice. And look, okay, okay, nice. This actually broke the 200. You gotta love that. You caught me by surprise. I'll be honest, I hadn't looked at this. So that is so nice to know, right? And this actually is above every single moving average, right? An awesome, awesome thing. MACD is actually in the positive. RSI is doing that same thing, and a nice little shoot up. This is in the 70s. Hopefully we still get another push, but that other push would at least give us a break of the 200. Because look, this broke, but again, that's not a good confirmation by any means. Obviously this opened above it. Let me just scroll back. Oh man, it's been a good while. That was our last good break of the 200 before the start in January of last year, right? So huge accomplishment, actually. I'm loving that we're over it. Not tomorrow. Tuesday will matter a lot, okay? We definitely need good confirmation on Tuesday, all right? But loving the fact that that's over the 200. Again, I talked about the MACD, RSI, and volume a little bit. Let's go to the weekly here. All right, loving it, right? So this definitely made a scare on the 200. This then went up to the 50, not quite the 100 even, right? Because this looked like the main channel between those two. Ends up being these two. But the good thing is, you know, it doesn't scream it, right? But this 20 did a lot of work to keep it, and now we're definitely hoping to get over the 50, right? That would be a real nice accomplishment. What's this line right here? Yeah, that'll get us over the 50 as well. So cool. S&P 500, loving it. Okay, cool. Let me just zoom out a little bit. I'll make some lines in between this. I think that's a good one right there. Yeah, we'll keep that. I think that's good to make right there. That's a nice little separation. Okay, cool. I'm loving it. Obviously, super, super bullish. There's not even a lot more I need to say right here, right? So let's take a look at SPY. Again, this one's the ETF equivalent, just like QQQ is to NASDAQ. And again, I'm loving it. The exact same chart, right? We see this little fail right here where it tries to, but just doesn't give us quite the confirmation we want. That same open above and fail. And then again, a doji, just like we saw in the last one, and then a beautiful full candle with a break of the 200. Got to love it. This is in the positive again, not as high as the SP 500, but I'm telling you, I really talk less about the number, more positive and negative, and then the separation between green over red. And obviously green needs to be, look, green is good, red is bad, right? It's like a traffic light, right? This is not meant to be rocket science by any means, shape, or form. Green is good here, red is bad here. Green is good here, red is bad, all of them, right? So that's definitely intentional. Again, RSI is looking good. Hopefully we just get a little more separation, but hey, whatever. I'll take the uptrend and still that low 70 rounded, right? And again, some good volume. So loving this daily, loving that it looks exactly the same. And again, same weekly, right? Scare of the 200, hit the 50, 20, just doing enough work to bring it back up, right? So gotta love that. Gotta love the positivity between the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. And then we take a look at the Dow Jones, the DJ30, Dow Jones Industrial Average. Boom. Okay, I do got to zoom out because you know why? The 200 is down. We are and have been trading over every single moving average basically from this break, and I've said it a number of times, even with our individual stocks, right? You do not want to be trading under them. You want to break them and watch it fly. And it's just, you know, I repeat the same things over and over, and that's hopefully a good thing. Hopefully that's starting to sink into the head, right? But it's a beautiful, I keep zooming in and out, sorry about that. You want to be above all five, not fighting in between, and right? And I say it, I'll wait for this break because I know this is coming behind it, right? And I don't want to say I know, nothing's guaranteed. Obviously, sometimes you can get this high, your RSI is going to be in the 90s, and then you have to come down, right? So multiple times it gets over and comes down. However, when the conditions are correct, getting over all the moving averages tends to bring sustained uptrend And it's a beautiful thing. That's what we hunt for with our individuals. And one more time, this thing went from 33 to 34. That is well less than 10%, right? Because 10% is 3,000. That should have gone to 36 roughly, right? This, if you should have destroyed this, what is it? 5%. This was basically a 5% gain. I sincerely hope, at the minimum, hey, if you at least matched that, that's a beautiful thing, right? Because most people can't eat, most people, the market beats it, right? And hey, if you were at the 2%, 1% over the last 2 weeks, whatever, that's positive, right? I'm not here to bash anything, right? But golden rule number one, if you can get a string of green like this, especially, this is a daily, right? If you can get almost a full week of trading green, you got to look for the hunt and look for the kill, right? And a little bit of that is easier when you're a swing trader like I am, right? Because sometimes, look, I have limited funds, right? So sometimes you got to sell something that your heart is in so that you can put your money to work somewhere better, right? But again, all that's a little more theory than this Dow Jones Industrial chart, right? But you can tell how excited I am being overall 5, right? That I think at least emphasizes that. Again, beautiful MACD, much higher in the positive. And again, this is what we're hoping it could bring everyone else to. Because look, this thing ran, come on, don't lag on me, baby, come on. Look, this thing ran to the 600s in the MACD, and it still wasn't enough to bring the NASDAQ over, right? Actually, I don't even think it was enough to get the, yeah, it wasn't, right? Because let me just go back to the S&P 500, this exact same frame. Yeah, we never got the S&P 500 over, right? Dow Jones did its best to wait up there. But yeah, everything has to cool off, right? Now, hopefully, the fact that this is in the 70s has been in the high 80s. You know what I mean? Like, even right here, it looks like back right here, 84, right? Good mid 80s at least, we'll call it. There's reason to believe this thing will stay up here and maybe even break into the golden lines of trading, okay? We basically were up there, lost it, try to keep it, lost it. Like, it's been a while since we've been here, and really all the last times we've been here were fake, right? So hopefully we actually go and we go up while the other indices come in. That would be a beautiful goal. So my kitty's at the door. Let me do the DIA. I know she wants to come in, but she's going to be noisy. That's okay. DIA, look, exact same thing, right? A nice break of multiple moving averages. And not only that, though, but it gets them over all of them at that point. And then once we get and really confirmation is getting over that candle, right? But once we close over that candle, there's those just that's technical analysis for you, right? It really is. So again, beautiful break of multiple. I would have drawn my line right here. This thing definitely broke here with a nice full candle. We're now well over all of them. Yeah, right? So again, technical analysis 101 right there real quick. At least moving average theory 101 right there, I would call it. And then let me look at the week. Did I look at the weekly on the Dow? I think I got too excited on that daily. What's your weekly look like? Interesting. Okay, so look, this just pretty much the same thing that we saw in the other ones, just a little better, right? And actually, let me just go to the S&P 500. Same thing on the weekly. Cool. So look, this thing had the near scare of the 200, near scare of the death line too, but obviously the 200 moving averages, I always say, are a little more important than my lines until we run out of the moving averages, right? But scare the 200 works its way up, can't quite get out. DJ30, you can see the Dow Jones, actually pretty much the exact same thing. Scare of the 200 with an actual loss of the 200, but then a monstrous break of all of them, right? S&P 500 didn't quite do this. It did a little more of this, right? But nonetheless, it got above all of them. And again, you can see it, right? This comes up with us. You're able to use the 50, and now we're back over, and it's nice, right? And look, this last week got us over both the 100 and the 8. Give us 34.5, man. 34.5 would be a beautiful number to break, and again, that'll pretty much put us on a stone throws away from that golden line of trading, man. And oh man, that's a beautiful thing, especially if the Dow will be here when others can break the 200. When I say others, I'm talking about the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So The last one we're going to look at is the Russell. Let me at least just take a look at the IWM. Unfortunately, I am unable to look at the Russell index itself. But again, we've seen it. These ETFs look almost identical to the index. And this is a beautiful one. And if you remember, it was, I'm pretty sure this right here, where I was so, yeah, it had to have been this one right here. I was so bullish that the Russell was about to just catch or beat the Dow Jones, because it did exactly what I talked about on the other ones, right? I would have put a line right here. It closed above it, obviously, right? Why are you, come on, don't be annoying. Oh my gosh, there's no good way of doing it. Yeah, there's no way. But you get it. The line's right there, closed above it. I assumed it would have gone up, just like I said. I'm glad I said nothing's guaranteed on the other one, right? Because I definitely got it wrong, and I talked about that. And again, exactly what I talked about, right? There are times when you trade over, and even that was above all of them, but bad things still happen, right? So it's a lot about condition. How high was your RSI? Oh, man, it even wasn't that high. Oh, yeah, that's for sure why I got that wrong. Nonetheless, right? It happens right here a little bit, right? And look, the expectation would be a little bit of a continuation. I could see this line maybe being a little bit of a test, because look, this one's definitely at 74. I could expect it to, go up a little bit and then, like we say, cool off, but hopefully cool off on one or two places, either the 8 or the 200 itself. Because if you can bounce off the 200, that definitely tells me that we've taken it, right? It's nice to break it. It's even better to use it as a support. It kind of shows a little more dominance, right? So this has been the review. Again, I'll do another one midweek. Just still looks good. I can't believe I'm still bullish going into the third week, right? I think I'm a little less bullish than the last two, because some of our RSIs are getting a little high. So that's telling me that some things are a little overbought. But yeah, if the NASDAQ can break the 100, if the Dow can just keep on running, if the Russell can keep on running, and then if the S&P 500 can actually break the 200 and start running, my goodness, right? There were so many more positive things there than negative things there, right? But just keep in mind that the S&P and the NASDAQ are sitting at some hard tests, right? So Tuesday's confirmation will be important. Monday, there is no trading. It is a US holiday, so Tuesday making that a smaller, shorter week, right? So, hey, I hope you're learning. I sincerely appreciate your time. Have a great one.